He took off his top yet. I didn't see when he took off his top. I tell you, it's hard to shoot out the Bird just made 23.
That boy, he can play, man.
He's going to have to put it up. He does, and hits at the buzzer.
Yes, I missed Bird by a year, but somebody was telling me that Bird was the biggest smack talker in the game.
Bird for three. Yes, Bird for 3 with 4 seconds to go.
Because he just, this muscle here, the one between his ears,
yeah,
that was his best, you know.
Goes to Bird. He's open.
Because he made the three-pointers.
It's not yet clear. This is a three-pointer. Yes.
And he had assists.
Fastball by Bird right down the...
And rebounded.
There's Archibald. Bird. Larry Bird. Nice touch. Larry Bird.
Steals.
Going to give the ball to Detroit. Bird steals it. Johnson. Layup. Boston. 1 second left.
He was always at the right place at the right time on the court.
Yeah, now you can quickly. Bird jumper. Good.
You know, one of the great players, I had the opportunity to play against.
Bird. Smothered. Goes up anyway.
MVP. 3 letters that sum up dominance, excellence, and the spirit of reaching the height of individual greatness. Out of the many, many awards a player can win, the MVP award is the highest honor of them all. And out of the tens of thousands of guys who have laced up to play an NBA game, only 36 have won an MVP award. And of those 36, only 9 of them have won the award at least 3 times. And of the 9 players with 3 or more MVPs, only 3 have won the award back to back to back. Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, and the most recent to do it, Larry Joe Bird. In 1998, nearing the end of his days with the Boston Celtics, Larry Bird had reached legendary status on the court. He was widely recognized as not only the NBA's most ruthless and fearless competitor, but as the greatest small forward to ever play the game. In '88, Bird was 3rd in scoring at 29.9 points per game, was 1st in free throw shooting and 3-point shooting, and finished 2nd in the NBA MVP vote at 31 years old. But as crazy as these numbers sound, you have no idea just how dominant this man really was. So why not ask the players who saw his greatness up close and personal? Trust me, I don't care how good you think Bird was, the man was even better.
But Larry Bird was cold. I don't think nobody ever could get out with him.
That was the first time Bird ever talked trash to me. It was my rookie season, my first game I ever played against him.
What'd he say?
And he's coming down the court, and I'm guarding him. He looks at me, he said, "I don't know why they have you guarding me, Holmes." And he shoots the 3. Now, I wasn't upset he made the 3. I said, but this son of a gun just called me Holmes.
The last play, he says to James Worthy, he says, "You guys don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go right over there that corner." He said, "They're going to set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out." He said, "I'm going to curl right over." And he's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, "I'm going to go right over to that corner, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to shoot it, and I'm going to tie the game or win the game," whatever the case may be.
You know, Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans. In that game, we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side over across the 3, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
Now, as made up and completely fictional as Doc Rivers' Larry Bird story sounds, Doc was actually speaking all facts. And when I say this was next level, I really, really mean it. On March 12th, 1985, the reigning league MVP Larry Bird walked into New Orleans to take on the Atlanta Hawks. And apparently, he had a lot on his mind coming into that game. Things you probably wouldn't expect from a white guy with an average physique. And on the other side of the ball was a young and upcoming high flyer by the name of Dominique Wilkins. The same Dominique Wilkins that would go on to become one of the faces of the NBA in the 1980s after Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. But this wasn't just your ordinary Larry Bird game. This was Bird at his very best. But before we go any further, if you're looking to up your game in sports betting, meet today's video sponsor, OddsJam, your ultimate ally in the world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sportsbooks under its belt, OddsJam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sportsbooks. This means you can lock in risk-free profits by betting on both sides of the market. But that's not all. OddsJam also provides a positive EV calculator to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to monitor your profits. So by using OddsJam, you're not just betting smarter, you're betting responsibly for long-term profitability. And here's the kicker, they offer a 7-day free trial. Ready to give it a shot? Use code UNLIMITED for a 35% discount on your first month. Secure your bets with confidence and make informed decisions with OddsJam. All right, back to the video. While those highlights looked all-time special, there was something much more interesting going on between the lines. A moment that would go on to be talked about for years and years as one of the coldest-blooded trash-talking moments you'll hear about in sports history. Now, remember how Doc mentioned that Bird kept shouting, "Who wants it?" each time he came down the court? Well, that moment was so jaw-dropping that the dudes Larry Bird was dropping 60 points on were cheering his shots as they fell. Even as Bird pointed at all the guys on the opposite bench while he scored and was flat out disrespecting them, they were so in awe of his greatness that they all just kept quiet and continued watching number 33 light it up. I think it's safe to say that we're not going to see a more cold-blooded trash talker ever again in the NBA. I mean, this guy was the baddest white dude to ever lace him up.
Have a play, out of bounds play, I'm taking it out, and Larry says, I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a three. And I'm like, we're down 2. I'm like, no, don't do that. And I'm like, let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game. And Larry says, no, I'm just going to bust a 3 on him. I'm like, oh, my gosh. So he tells the Phoenix bench, he tells the coaches, yeah, I'm just fixing to bust a 3 on you guys and just go home. I'm tired of this. And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so!" He stopped running to the locker room. And it went in, and I just started laughing. I was like, oh, man.
And then you got that arrogant, cocky Larry Bird trash-talking all the time.
And was he really arrogant? Was he really, really arrogant?
Well, yeah, he could back it up. So when you're arrogant and you can back it up, you're not arrogant, you're just good. And Larry was good.
And yes, he was arrogant. And yes, he absolutely backed it up. In 1984, Larry Bird was at the peak of his basketball powers. He was in the midst of one of the greatest seasons of all time. And on one night, 2 unlucky things happened to future NBA Hall of Famer Julius Erving. Number 1, his team drew Bird's Celtics. And number 2, he had to guard the maniac that was Larry Bird. And this matchup got intense. It began in the third quarter when Bird was getting the best of Erving. Bird said, quote, "I was up 38-6. That's how I summarize it. I don't want to get into the details, but I wasn't happy with the way things were going." Yeah, that's who Larry was. Even as he was kicking the behind of one of the game's best players, he still wasn't satisfied. So what did Larry do? Well, he started trash-talking Erving, and that's when things got heated. During one trip down the court, Bird and Dr. J got a little tied up. Bird fell to the ground, and Dr. J just kind of trotted back down to the other end of the court. Well, Larry Bird did not like that, so he got up and got in Dr. J's face. According to Danny Ainge, who was Bird's teammate on the court that day, Larry had scored like 35 on him, like halfway through the third quarter, and he was just jogging back down the court and said, quote, "Man, you need to retire." And it was just like that. Dr. J lost his mind, and that's where that story started. Just think about this. Bird really told that man to retire from his job during a game. He said that in the face of one of the greatest players ever. I mean, the audacity of this man was something else. It ended in an absolute melee with Erving landing a few punches on Bird while he was being held from behind by Charles Barkley and Moses Malone. Barkley tried splitting the two up, but Dr. J had already landed a couple punches, and honestly, I'd be heated too. That was huge disrespect. Anyway, it all ended in both Bird and Dr. J being ejected.
Larry used to always call me Cheesy, right? He's like, "Cheesy, who guard me?" And I was like, I got Kelly, I got Lem, I got Benson. He's like, "You ain't got no brothers?" He's like you. He's like you.
Disrespecting me.
That's what he said.
Straight up.
That's exactly what he said. He said, "Hey, man, you can't put no white dude on me."
Hey, bro.
That is straight disrespect.
So all of a sudden, we playing, and I'm D'ing him up, and he slow balled me. That's where I got the slow ball. Put your back to your back like this, and his back was bad during this time. So he went right to that corner, And I'm up on him, I'm under him. And he said, young fella, what did I tell you I was going to do? And he turned around, raised up. We looked around, it was all draws. And I said, shit, I ain't gonna mess with you no more.
He was a savant on the court, like just a savant, like 2 plays ahead on everything. And so I was just talking about this maybe 3 or 4 days ago, how hard it was to go into Boston and beat a team when Bird is in his prime.
Dumars is absolutely right. Playing Bird Celtics in Boston was one of the hardest things to do for any NBA team, especially the Detroit Pistons. And I don't know if it was Detroit's nastiness or their grit or trash talking, but there was something about those Pistons teams that brought the very best out of number 33. From 1981 to 82, or Larry Bird's age 25 season, until Bird was 31 years old in 1988, the Celtics were 26-9 against the bad boys in Detroit. And to give that some context, other powerhouse teams like the Philadelphia 76ers were just 22-17 against Detroit during those years. Houston was just 5-9, and Milwaukee was just 1 game above 500 with a 21-20 record against Detroit. But Bird was just different. In those 35 matchups during those 7 seasons, Bird averaged 27.2 points, 10.4 rebounds, and 7 assists. And the next pup that tells you that Larry Bird wasn't anything special or all that skilled, show him this game. November 1985, Bird goes for 47 points, the 6th highest scoring game by a player that season, on 55% shooting and a perfect 13-13 from the free throw line. But here's where it gets even more impressive. This dude, Larry Bird, dropped 47 on 0. Yes, 0 3-pointers made or attempted. Can you guess how many players during the past 2023-24 season scored at least 47 points in a game with no 3-pointers? Just one. Bird, in a physically relentless era, was dropping nearly 50 points on all mid-range jumpers and by finishing among the trees in the paint. But going back to what Dumars said about Bird's IQ, he wasn't joking around when he said that. Watch Bird here as he seals his defender and signals to teammate Dennis Johnson with his eyes to throw the ball off the glass. I mean, it's just the subtle things like this that made Bird from another planet, you know? And this was the mid-80s, right? 98% of guys were not thinking outside the box like this. Bird knew that if he posted up and called for the ball like most big players do, they would have a mismatch. Detroit's defense would swarm him and probably triple team him, but no. Bird was several steps ahead of the game. It's why defensive juggernauts like Detroit couldn't manage to win more than 9 games in 7 seasons against Larry Bird. But this Larry Bird game, nearly 40 freaking years later, doesn't get talked about as much as it should. Here, we had a top 11 defense in the Atlanta Hawks on their home court versus Larry Bird. Number 33, by himself, outscored the other 4 Celtics starters, combined. And similar to the theme of his 47 against Detroit, Bird dropped 60 on just 1 3-pointer. Now, throughout NBA history, there have been 89 instances of a player having scored at least 60 points in a game. And incredibly enough, 7 of those 60-plus point games happened just this past season. But of the 89 times a 60-point game has happened in history, only 49 times has it happened with a player making either just 1 or no 3-pointers at all, which you're probably thinking sounds like a fair amount, right? Well, if you take out Mr. Broken Record himself, Wilt Chamberlain, who had 32 of these 49 games, that number drops to only 17. So Wilt Chamberlain notwithstanding, only 17 times in NBA history has there been a 60-plus point performance with a player making no more than 1 3-pointer. So Bird's 60 in 1985 is far more impressive than you probably previously thought.
When I'm shooting a basketball,
Right.
that's got to be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I like that because I knew the pressure was on them more than me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just looked there. I was really just teasing. I looked around and everybody's looking at me. I go, who's coming in second?
Bird in the corner, double fake, jumpers, good!
I don't think me and Coach and I would have had a problem because I never had a problem with my coach.
3 seconds, 2, Bird, a runner, it's good!
You guys are champions. You guys have won at the highest level.
Let me tell you, Rich, I don't think about the wins. I always think about the loss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops, it to Bird, a runner. It's good! It's good! And the Celtics win it!
So see Kevin there? He's talking bad about you. What? I said, Kevin, tell him what you told me. He goes, what's that? I said, you're going to kick his butt tonight. He goes, hey, Alvin, I'm going to kick your butt tonight. Kevin's a rookie. Stuff like that.
Bird working. He's triple teamed. He leans in. What a shot by Larry Bird on the baseline.
You know, I always knew how good I was.
Right.
I didn't care what you thought of my game, Al.
Yeah.
But I knew in the majority of the games I played with the team I had, we're going to win most of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that kind of confidence.
Back in the Bird, the ball is gone. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
I like it's open because guys can show more of their skills, and the shooters will always be shooters.
Top of the key, Larry spins, drives, got it.
You see, the fundamental difference between some of the greatest players of all time, like Kareem, Magic, Duncan, LeBron, Steph, and many more, versus Larry Bird, is that other players greatly respected these all-time greats, but they were downright haunted by the thought of playing Larry Bird. They're intimidated by guys like Kobe and Jordan, but they are in awe of Larry Bird. I mean, among the thousands of players who have ever played the sport of basketball, they unanimously see Bird in a territory, a space, a breath of his own. Of all the players you've heard from, whether they competed against him, watched him play, or even played with him, they were all in sheer amazement. All of these players competed at the highest level. All of them reached massive success in the NBA, yet none of them see Bird as their peer. They put him in his own category. And truly, there will never be another Larry Bird in the NBA.
Not being guarded, it goes to Bird. Bird up fakes, Bird takes the shot. It's gone! It's gone! Oh my goodness! I can't believe it!
All right, that's it for this one. Let us know what you thought down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.